Oops. Oops. Let's see. Hello, everyone. Hi, Dr. Adam. Just waiting for everyone to come in. Hello, Tracy. So over it. Love that name. Hello, Dr. Adam. Doing all right. How are you?
I'm good. Give me 1 second. I'll fix this. Hold on.
Oh, wow. We have a lot of people joining already. Thank you guys for hanging with us. We've been all day. Dr. Adam, thank you for joining us earlier.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
We've been talking about mental health awareness.
Yeah,
It's the
I've
last
been
day of
watching.
mental health awareness.
I've been checking in throughout the day and watching some of the
Yes.
pre-meetings, so that's great.
Yes, and I think it helps us really get a mental reset when we're hearing about how other people have mastered different things. So let's see. So I see Richard. Oh, he was waiting for me to start. He was waiting for me. I'm sorry, Richard. It always helps for us to see how other people have mastered stuff. Richard, you made it.
You got the whole thing.
Yes, I am. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Can hear you loud and clear, my friend. How are you?
Fantastic.
So now I feel bad. I'm in you're live, but do you want me to? I don't know if I could leave.
You can join.
You should go ahead, say what you need to say, and then turn it over to Adam and myself. Yeah.
Because I want to learn from you guys. So thank you guys for joining us. We are doing Black Mental Health Alliance has hosted different Instagram lives all day. I know Richard and Dr. Adam Bandelli have been on. And we're just trying to talk about different mental health topics to remove that stigma of talking about issues, getting help, and letting people know they're not in it by themselves. So with that, I'm going to put the baton to Richard so that way you guys aren't listening to me all day.
Which we don't mind, do we, Adam? We don't mind listening to you all day. And you've been doing a fantastic job, by the way. So,
I'm doing it.
So we are excited about, again, being able to have this special guest on Instagram or whatever social media platform, because he is dynamic and brings a lot to the table for us to unpack and to address, because it's all about our mental health. And so, Adam, Dr. Bandelli, I'm sorry, welcome again to the platform. Okay. And thank you, Roxana, for sharing or giving us this opportunity to really have this conversation, this important conversation.
Yeah.
Adam, we only have, we don't have a lot of time, so I'm not going to spend too much time introducing you, because your vitae, your resume is one of those that would take a person several minutes, if not an hour, to really properly introduce you. But I will say that Dr. Bandelli is the founder and managing director of Bandelli and Associates. He is an organizational psychologist, a seasoned leadership advisor. He has been described as a dynamic visionary. He is definitely a powerful thought leader. He has been able to lift up issues impacting our mental health, because he has also had some mental health challenges in his life. And he had no problem sharing those trials and tribulations and how he addressed those issues and how he came through it and how he is still, again, attending to his mental health. So again, he brings a lot to the table that we need to really understand, appreciate, and I applaud him and praise him for his commitment to this topic. I think, Dr. Bandelli, one of the greatest existential threats to our community is our lack of attention paid to our mental health, our overall mental health. I really do think that we are trying to play catch up.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to play catch up, it is extremely difficult to catch up if you are not seriously attending to your mental health and looking at ways to bring resources and services, the right kind of services, the right kind of expertise, the right people, and the right resources to assist in leading us out of, this quagmire that we find ourselves in. But I said I wasn't going to spend a lot of time introducing you, but I want to at least have you for a couple of minutes talk about, who you are.
Yeah.
Just to say a little bit more about who you are, why you got into this space,
Yeah.
and what your work is really all about. So let's start there.
Yeah, that'd be great. So, Adam Bandelli, I'm a leadership advisor and business psychologist. My early life, the first 10, 15 years of my life, if you can't see with the shoes behind me, I'm an athlete first. So I played point guard, high school and college basketball. I use the phrase, I was built by sport. And so a lot of the things that I do today around leadership and team effectiveness, motivation, goal setting, all that came from the origins around learning to play basketball, working with great mentors and coaches, learning about the ideas of like what it means to be a team member. What does it mean to put in discipline and dedication to a craft and really make steadily consistent progress day in, day out. So there were habits that I built in my first, 10, 15 years of life that have transcended into my mid 40s. And so I think that's the first thing I would highlight. When I realized in college that I was not going to be like Mike and go to the NBA, I had to come up with a plan B really quickly. And I was always fascinated by people and really got deeply into leadership. And it was around the time Daniel Goleman came out with his book, Emotional Intelligence, Why It Matters More Than IQ. And that really sent me on a 10-year journey, Richard, where I really started to dissect what emotional intelligence is. And our research found that, leaders can use emotions to inspire and motivate people, or they can use emotions to instill fear and authority over people. And so based on that, I did my doctoral work down at the University of South Florida, where I came up with the concept of relational intelligence, which we define as really the ability to successfully connect with people and build strong, long-lasting relationships. And so these skills, things like building rapport, developing trust, bringing your true, authentic self to your work or your personal life, these are all skills that people need to learn at an early age as they progress through life. And particularly if you have a mental health disorder or someone in your family that does, these skills become even more critical because it helps with finding the right therapist or psychiatrist. It helps with finding the right support system for you or your loved ones. So things like developing trust, we can just use that as an example. If you build trusting relationships with someone in your family who has a mental health disorder, they're going to trust your feedback. They're going to trust your input. They're going to value your opinion. They're going to solicit it more. And it's going to help the fight of feeling alone. A lot of times folks with mental health, I know for me, I was diagnosed with bipolar in my early 20s. I felt scared and alone at many points in time, that this was something that was a life-altering disease and that no one really understood what I was going through. I was wrong. There are a lot of people who have, and there are a lot of things I've learned in the last 20 years since I was diagnosed. But, having people who build strong relationships around you is really a key way to unlocking a lot of that.
So I hope folks heard you loud and clear, because again, I praise you for your transparency in terms of what you went through and what you are still attending to. But you were able to muster up the courage at some point and made the decision to really save your life.
Yeah.
And saving your life is what this is really all about. Saving our lives is what this is really all about. Yeah. So Adam, we are, again, if I were to, I came up during a time, of course, when homeschool and the religious institutions that were in our communities had the major influence on our overall mental health and our well-being. Yeah. That is no longer the case. A recent Surgeon General study just published indicated that for our young people today, social media, and I would add to that social media, peer group, and the other electronic media, basically are influencing our children's decision-making, their behaviors, their relationships, and everything that you really described and talked about. So we are at a pivotal time. We are at an inflection point or reflection point, however you want to describe it, where the topics that we are tackling today throughout our marathon are critical, and this is a critical one to relationships. So I want you to first talk about the home as being one of the most important first places, if you will, to really, really build trust and build the kind of relationships that we need to thrive, survive, and to prosper?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think our home familiar system, whether that's parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, that unit and that nuclear family is really the first place you get to know about how to interact with people who are like you and people who are not like you. And you know, as a Black person, as a person of color, I had the blessing of being around people from different faiths, ethnicities, nationalities. Some of the folks in my family are Muslim, some are Christian, some are Jewish. I have folks in my family who are white, Black, and brown. And so having that mix for me exposed me to ideas and different ways of thinking. And so I think the roles that parents play are incredibly important in terms of the values and the beliefs and the things that they instill in their children. You look at things like, you know, being comfortable in your own skin and being your authentic self. That starts at home. That starts by having positive reinforcement and having the behaviors that you do acknowledged by your parents. It has them teaching you some hard life lessons. I think oftentimes, though, we learn what not to do from what we see modeled from us. You know, what our parents say and what they do are opposite. I know in my own life, there were a lot of things that were said to me, and then I saw hypocritical type of behaviors and said, wait, I'm being told to do this, but I'm observing that. And so I think, you know, that's probably one of the biggest disconnects. I think when family relationships break down, it's what our parents or our grandparents or aunts and uncles, what are they saying? What are they preaching to their children? And then what are they practicing? What are they modeling in the home?
Mm-hmm. And oftentimes what they are modeling, basically they learn from their parents. And
Generational.
so the kind of generational, dilemma of how do we really break that generational, dilemma of teaching what we should not do, but teaching what we need to do in order to advance and uplift our relationships in our communities and our families.
Yeah.
And so here we are, still basically now, I guess, confronted with even more external forces, forces that basically can definitely undermine any and everything that is taught in the home. And so the home has to become that, again, a critical place where what you just described as being necessary to really build trust, lasting, enduring relationships must take place. So if you were to offer our listeners, a kind of first place to, or a first kind of first place to really begin, where would that be? Where would you start?
I think the first place is really being intentional about what you're teaching your children and what are the behaviors that you're modeling. And so, you think about our framework. We have 5 skills in our relational intelligence framework. We're going to talk about them this weekend with the family training we're doing with the Black Mental Health Alliance. There's a piece around rapport building and teaching children at an early age how to connect with other people when they first meet them, eye contact, body language. How do you interact with people who are not in your home? What do you do when you see strangers? How do you interact with people who come from different backgrounds or ethnicities? So I think the first piece is being very intentional about how you teach your children to interact with people from different backgrounds, cultures, and ethnicities.
Being intentional, first place to start, you all. I mean, that's critical. And I'm going to walk you through your powerful pillars of relational intelligence. By the way, that's the name of his powerful book, by the way. And of course, you can, I would encourage all of our listeners to really try to pick up a copy of that book. If we're talking about saving our lives and saving our families and our relationships, that book should be on your must-read list. So if being intentional is a critical first step. Let's talk about empathy. Let's talk about cultivating empathy. Thank you.
Empathy falls under our skill of understanding others. If you're going to build a strong relationship with someone, Richard, you really have to get to know them on a deep level. And that requires empathy, being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes, but it also requires being curious. And I remember growing up, I was never told to ask questions. It was more keep quiet and share your opinion when you're asked. But I think curious and inquisitive people build relationships faster because they show a genuine interest in wanting to get to know other people. Active listening is a really important skill that needs to be learned at an early age in the home. Most people like to talk rather than listen. And so even, and I'd be most guilty of this as an extrovert. I get excited by talking and energy, but, people who can ask questions and really listen to kind of hear what's being said beyond what is actually being verbalized is important too. And then, having good EQ is part of it as well. I think a lot of times, especially people with mental health disorders, if you're not in a proper support system or in therapy, you can have emotional ups and downs. There can be a lot of volatility. And so the ability to manage your emotions when you're stressed or when you're frustrated, when you're anxious, when you're depressed, becomes really, really important. But not only that, but teaching children and teaching our young folk that how do you read other people's emotions? How do you walk into a room and can gauge the temperature on how people are responding to you, reacting to each other? I know now that I've been doing this work for 20 years, one of my long-term visions for this is for this to be taught in schools. Imagine if the three of us learned about empathy when we were in 4th or 5th grade. Imagine if we took a course on active listening and being curious and being comfortable in your own skin. These are all things that we had to learn trial by error over our lives. If we're teaching these skills to kids, I think it helps a lot with what you brought up as well, Richard, around the social media age that we live in and folks constantly being behind their phones. I think there's some statistics we saw recently, like most, children 9 to 12 or 9 to 14 are on their phones, 14, 16 hours a day, where they're looking at a screen or they're interacting in some way like this with people versus being in the same room with them. So you're seeing a generation now that will be in the workforce in 10 years. And we're already seeing this with Gen Zs. And COVID exacerbated this is, people don't know how to interact when they're face to face. They prefer this distance, kind of not being in the same room. And so we're going to raise a generation of folks who don't know how to have those deep personal connections unless we're intentional about teaching them these skills.
Powerful, powerful, powerful. And I hope that, your vision and will come true, come to be actualized in terms of bringing this information to our schools at a very, very early part of our young people's lives. Because again, if the only place that we are getting this information is from our homes, and we are really, I won't call it in trouble, but we are in trouble. Because again, we are not, these attributes or these critical issues that we're lifting up and the steps that we need to take in order to really build high-level relationships, are critical. And again, where does that take place? And you've got to be taught how to really develop trust and empathy and EQ and so forth, or EI. So again, I'm glad that you are with us. We went out, Roxana, and got top-level expert, the man, if you want to call him such, to really help lead us down this journey of building and developing powerful family relationships. So Adam, let's maybe talk about relationships between, because again, in our homes where there are moms and dads, young people are watching them. And they are basically taking from the interactions of fathers and mothers and other caregivers. They are taking so much from what they see. And you brought this up earlier in terms, we are looking at what not to do in so many instances. And so the emphasis today, you all, is to really, we all need to do a mirror check, because our children are watching us, we are watching each other, and we're taking all of these learned lessons, good and bad, out into the community, out into the marketplace. And why we are simply confronted with so much chaos and confusion, it seems, is because what we are trying to do and what we're talking about on this call today, Adam, is not happening at the level that it should. Our session this weekend is about building and restoring family relationships and the power of relational intelligence. And so if we were to really pay attention to not just, the title of this session, but why starting where we are trying to center ourselves at home is so critical, it would bode well for all of us to really understand and appreciate the power of relational intelligence as we continue to build ourselves. So, again, I'm again praising you for this work that has been based on research. It's not anecdotal. You know what you're talking about. You know why, we need to really engage in these kind of serious conversations. But in the little bit of time that we have left, I want you to highlight any other kinds of thoughts or suggestions that we all can benefit from while we have you on this call?
So I think one thing that is kind of a preview for what we'll get into this weekend, the training that we're going to be doing with the Black Mental Health Alliance is really about taking participants on a journey to reflect on their upbringing and their experiences and what has shaped who they are today, in service of how they can then pay it forward for their children or people in their family. So it'll be a chance. This is not going to be a lecture type format. There's going to be discussion, debate. There's a workbook that we're going to have for participants. So you will go on a journey with us this weekend where you'll really get to reflect on who you are and what shaped you and how that impacts your relationships today. The second piece that I would touch on, it goes back to your point, Richard, of talking about the behaviors that we see modeled in how our parents treat each other. There's a skill in our framework called cultivating influence, which is really the ability to have a positive impact on someone else's life. What better place?
I'm sorry, Adam. What was that?
Cultivating influence.
Powerful. Okay.
And so what better place to bring out the best in someone else than in your spouse or partner?
Yeah.
And if you are in a really thriving and successful relationship, you want to bring the best out of each other, whether it's career-wise, whether it's how you show up as parents, whether it's what you do with your physical health and fitness, your mental health. And so we're going to do a deep dive on kind of what that means. How do you be the best version of yourself, which is taking care of your mental health and taking care of your physical well-being, so that you can be that resource and that partner to your spouse or to your loved one, so that you can model those relational skills in front of your children. They should be seeing what to do based on your behaviors, not necessarily what you tell them.
Right. Roxanne, folks, this is life-giving, life-saving information. With the good news is that Adam reminds us that all of these skills that he is talking about can be learned,
that's right,
developed, and put into action in all of our relationships. That's the good news. And so we are grateful and grateful and appreciative of the fact that this is a powerful message that you continue to share, and that you are clear about, that we can learn these skills, that we can develop these skills, that we can put them into action. Roxanne, do you want to share again when this session is going to take place?
So Dr. Adam and Andrea and I met yesterday, and we have opened up the training to everyone and have made it, we doing the drum roll, free. So we have committed to giving out some scholarships for the training, but there's only a certain amount of seats that we can do that for. And of course, hopefully people will also support our work, become members, so that we can keep doing things like that. But the training has been split into two parts, so that way, because a lot of the feedback we got was therapists would need to take out times from their schedule. So it's 2 Saturdays, an hour and a half, from 10 to 11:30. You get a workbook. So it's this Saturday, June 3rd, and not the Saturday after that, June 17th, from 10 to 11:30. We'll go through the workbook. And when I say we, it's interactive. I will be taking notes because this is a world-renowned trainer. He has made a workbook for Black Mental Health Alliance. And I want to learn from him about making those restoring and making good relationships, right? Because I think a lot of times we miss that whole piece. You can't just have kids and have a support system. You can't just have a wife or a husband and it magically is this great support, right? So I think that's why I value so much of the trainings that we're doing, because they're training trainers to empower people like a layperson like myself to have those tools, so that I'm not at the point of wanting to leave my family or wanting to leave my relationship. Like that has been kind of life-changing for me, like just learning from the different trainers that we've had, you know.
That was a great infomercial. I think you hit spot on, Roxanne. But I think the really important thing that I want to encourage to all your listeners is it's not just going to be things you learn from me. The power in the trainings that we do at my firm are in what people learn from each other. And so the discussions and the conversations that we have as a group is where the real power will be unlocked this weekend and 2 weeks from now. And so, for everyone that's going to be joined, I encourage you to come with a desire to learn and grow, come with a desire to contribute, and you'll get the most out of it as much as you put into it.
Yes, and I think we forget about that because we learn we learn from what others have learned and responded to. And it's the link in our bio in Black Mental BMHA officials bio. You can register to that training, and it's free.
Free, you all, free. Dr. Adam Bandelli has been our guest, a tremendous thought leader, high-level visionary, expert on a number of critical topics that are life-affirming and life-saving. And I would hope that everyone listening would join us on this Saturday, network or share the information with your friends. Go to our website, www.blackmentalhealth.com, for more information, or to follow Ms. Roxana's lead in terms of how you can register. Because you all, while there's so many things that we could, talk about, many things that we could engage in and lift up, this is one of the most critical ones that I believe we need to really, attend to and pay attention to, because our lives, depend on this. Our families, in terms of restoring our families and building up our families and really enhancing our relationships and saving our young people. Yeah. Saving our children. It's critical that we learn these skills and teach these skills to our children now and for the future. So Dr. Bandelli, if you have anything else, friend, Adam, visionary, leader, etc., if you have anything more you want to share before we...
No, this is great. I'm excited. It's going to be a great session this weekend and 2 weeks from now. So I'm excited to get to meet the members that are joining and kind of learn from everyone else.
Okay, great. Please, sir, have a great afternoon. The optimal health to you and yours, and please give everyone on your team, our best and our appreciation for their work as well.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you, Roxana. Thank you, Richard. Have a great day.
Yes, sir. Take care now. Love your background. Take care now. Bye-bye. So, Miss Roxana, how did we do?
I think we did great. All right, put it in the chat if you think it was inspiring you to register for our training this weekend, building strong family relationships. And Richard, should we give a book away?
Yes, we should. Yes, we should.
I think we should too. So we're going to give one of these away, not mine. We're going to give a copy away, not my copy, because Andre and I were just even talking about going through the principles in here. So if you can tell us one takeaway that really touched you, that Dr. Adam Bandelli has shared with us, all you have to do is send me an email at info@blackmentalhealth.com. All you have to do is say mental health awareness talk, and in the email you have to say a takeaway that Dr. Adam Bandelli has that you got from his talk, and also share that we have this training coming up, Building Strong Family Relationships. It's this Saturday and June 17th from 10 to 11:30. Click the link in the bio and it'll have BMHA trainings, and you can go in there, boop, 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 and you'll be registered, and we'll send you your workbook and all that good stuff.
Wow. Great book. And a great promotional advertisement for this week, and the June 3rd again and June 17th. Yes. Be clear about that. There are 2 sessions. They are 90 minutes each. You will receive a workbook, but critical to everything that we are sharing with you is that you will receive life-saving information, life-affirming information about how we do this and how we get it right, so that we are helping our young people, helping each other in this very, very fast-paced and ever-changing world. Our young people are confronted with these forces that are causing them to have high levels of anxiety, stress, issues related to suicide ideation, and it's impacting all of us. It's also impacting or affecting the adults and parents and everyone in our orbit. So we need this information, you all, and the Black Mental Health Alliance, I'm glad, is able and willing to provide these types of training to any and everybody that needs this information and the resources that will be provided during the training. So again, it was our honor and our pleasure to really bring this information to you, and we look forward to everyone who was listening, and we hope that you will share this information with others, and we look forward to seeing you at the training on this coming Saturday.
Yes. And so we will have all of the IG live on, what is it, YouTube. We're going to archive them, but I'm going to leave like a link in our LinkedIn bio so that you can access all the Instagram lives. And I think, is Dr. Bruce next? Dr. Bruce is on. So I got to bring him on. Love More Family. Okay, so let's see how I'm going to do this here because now I don't remember. I have no request. Oh, I'm so happy now, Richard. I think I'm getting to be a pro at this.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Better you than me. I know that. I would still be in search of.
So we're bringing Dr. Bruce on. I think Dr. Bruce is 5:30, right? Let's look on our Instagram live here. Oh, no. He's not now. Oh, he is now at 5. Oh, no. Oh, so you know what, Dr. Bruce, I'm sorry. You're not until 5. So we're just early? I think we're, yeah, so he's at 5, so we're just early. I know, 30 minutes, which we are. So Dr. Adam was right on time. And then, look, Dr. Bruce was like, I am not ready for you guys yet. So we can come back now at 5, like a little bit before 5. We've been on all day talking about mental health awareness. This is the last day in the Mental Health Awareness Month, and we just wanted to talk about different mental health topics. Really, because it removes the stigma of people getting help. And we are also sharing our stories so that you can hopefully get encouragement to get help, get support, ask for help and support, and not feel bad about that. Dr. Bruce said, that's right. Isn't it great to be early?
Always better to be early than late, Dr. Bruce. So we are.
That is so true.
We're looking forward to having our conversation with you as well, sir. So we know, get our audience ready for you because you will bring it. You're always speaking truth to power.
Yes.
And you're always lifting up the most important affirmations that we need in order to live healthy lives of abundance and joy and love, man. So we know we can't wait for you to come on and share your information with our listeners.
Yeah.
But
so
give us
guys,
a 2 minutes, brother. Give us a 2 minutes, okay?
You need to get some steps in. I'm tracking my steps. I don't know if I'll match them today. So I'm gonna go take a lap around the house. Maybe you guys go get water.
Okay, go to
your lap.
Yes, ma'am.
And we'll reset.
Yes, and we'll be back in shortly, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Roxanne. See you in a few.